Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 51 of our Get Your Goals annual challenge. This month we're focusing on emotional well-being, and today we're going to talk about pleasure and emotional well-being. I'm going to share how to increase your emotional well-being in 4 simple, easy steps, as well as 20 plus different ways that you can increase the pleasure in your life, have more pleasure in your life. Now, I talked about this topic last year when I talked about pain and pleasure. Yesterday we talked about pain, and today we're going to talk about pleasure, because pain and pleasure are usually the opposite of one another. And I'm only going to talk about pleasure in ways that have nothing to do with sex, right? Because I'm not comfortable talking about that. Everybody's on their own when it comes to certain areas and aspects of your life, and that's one that I don't touch with a 10-foot pole. So, pleasure and well-being. Just like pain and well-being, pleasure and well-being are directly linked and directly connected. The happier we are, the more pleasure we feel in our life, the more love and positive emotions we feel in our life, the better our life is, the more well we are as beings. So how do we go about increasing and cultivating well-being in our lives? By cultivating and having more things that bring us joy and happiness and pleasure and love and positive experiences. Number one, we've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, probably hundreds of times this year. Gratitude. The importance of being grateful for what is and what you've already experienced in your life so far. Number two, be open to new experiences, right? The more open we are to new experiences and new things and trying new things, even if it's just new foods or driving a different way to work, we never know when something fun or exciting or dynamic or adventurous will come our way. Number three, we want to, number two was be present in the moment. Number three was, it doesn't matter what order they're in, right? Be in the present moment. Be present. So often we're either living and reliving and rehashing the past, or worrying and concerned about the future. We forget to be present in the moment that we're in right now. I remember a lot of times when my kids were growing up and I was running businesses and working in corporate America, and we'd go on a camping trip or a fishing trip, and we'd be in the boat fishing, the kids were having a blast, and I was working on something for work or something for business or a work project. And I missed out on some of the joyous moments and the pleasurable moments because I wasn't 100% fully present in that experience with my kids. And you know what? You can never get those moments back. So be present. And then finally, 4, prioritize your self-care. How many times have we talked about this? Again, we're going to talk about this in each area and aspect of our life, because if you don't prioritize taking care of yourself and setting up different areas and aspects of your life, you're going to struggle. So what are some examples of ways? I've got a list. Last year I talked about this topic as well as part of the BU 365-day challenge about being a continually ever improving version of ourselves. And we talked about emotions in February as well, so I thought it was fun to talk about it again this year. And it's interesting, I created a whole different list this year than I had last year. But if you want to hear last year's, you can go back and on our Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group, I think it's Guide 15 has got all last year's challenge in it. So you could just look for day 51 because it happens to be the same day as last year. Doesn't always work out that way, so I like to mix the topics up and change them around for things when I'm doing different topics. And this year we're focusing on goals, not on being a better version of ourselves. But guess what? Aren't goals on the way to becoming a better version of ourselves? I think that they are. So I'm going to grab my computer and cheat a little, so I'm not going to look at you because I need my magnifying glass and my computer to come up with this list. But this is just a list I actually had ChatGPT and the AI generate for me. Last year's list, I looked up and brainstormed and got things and ideas from the internet. But they're pretty similar lists, which is interesting, but not surprising, because they run along the lines of being present, practicing gratitude, being open to new experiences, and prioritizing your self-care, right? So what's on this year's list? This year's list is spend time outdoors in nature. One of my own personal favorites. Practice mindful meditation. Cultivate gratitude by keeping a daily gratitude journal. I'm actually doing this year. I've kept a gratitude journal on and off for a decade. Connect with loved ones and build strong relationships. Laugh often and find humor in everyday situations. Now, I do this because otherwise I used to get upset by things. I'm putting water in a pitcher to put water in the dog's dishes from the refrigerator and I missed the spigot and water went flying all over at me and all over the floor. And some days that would wreck my day, but not anymore. I just laughed and cleaned it up and I thought, now we have a clean spot on the floor. There's always a different way of looking at things that happen. And that's an everyday situation. I don't spill every day, but often enough to make it feel like an everyday situation. Engage in physical activities that you enjoy. Do things that you enjoy. If you enjoy going for walks, go for walks. If you enjoy playing tennis, play tennis. If you enjoy horseback riding, hiking, mountain climbing, whatever is of interest to you, do those things. But get physical. It really helps. I better mark where I am or I'm never going to remember. Take time to relax and unwind every single day. Read books that inspire and uplift you. I say, and I have a friend who's a coach, Abel Beckford, in reading, and I just love the way she teaches us to read books. Practice self-care and prioritize your own needs. Boy, we hear that all the time. Learn something new or take up a new hobby. Engage in a creative activity such as writing, painting, sculpture, crafting, etc. Cooking to me is a creative activity. Listen to music that makes you feel good. I could tell some stories about that. Try new foods and explore different cuisines. Spend time with animals or volunteer at a local shelter. Volunteering in any way, shape, or form always makes me feel better. So find ways to do that. Or if it doesn't make you feel good, then don't do it. But do what makes you feel good, brings you joy and happiness and pleasure. Practice forgiveness and let go of grudges. We've talked about that. Take regular breaks from technology and social media. This is critical, and most of us don't do it. Me included, unless I have some kind of a technical difficulty that forces me to. Get enough sleep and establish a consistent sleep routine. Spend time in quiet reflection or contemplation. Practice random acts of kindness. I think yesterday was Random Act of Kindness Day. And generosity. Engage in activities that bring you a sense of purpose and fulfillment. Connect with your spirituality or engage in a religious practice, whatever feels right for you. Again, another topic I don't usually talk about with the 10-foot pole, because it's none of my business and yours is mine. It's none of your business. Connect with your spirituality or engage. Oh, I just said that. Seek professional help or support when needed. Sometimes we all need help. Maybe it's a friend, but if you need professional help, go get it. And don't be ever afraid to ask. Surround yourself with positive people and influences. Spend time on gratitude. We already talked about that, and the blessings in your life. Practice positive self-talk and focus on your strengths and accomplishments. All good things. Some of the fun ones from last year were go for a swim, which would be a physical activity you enjoy. Write a letter. Create your own prayer. I thought that was an interesting one. Spend some time alone, right? But you can look that list up from last year. Okay, so what's our action item today? We are going to enjoy something today. We're going to share one thing that brings us pleasure today. Share in the comments below. I will do the same, and I'll do it tomorrow. I'm going to be hanging out with my granddaughters, 2 of my granddaughters. I got to see all 3 yesterday, but 2 of them today, so that always brings me pleasure. All right, have a great day, and I'll, of course, give you good luck.